What's going on? Hey, hi, how you doing? Good to see ya. Been a minute. Uh, so I did the last like pedalboard demo thing and had a lot of fun doing it. It was awesome. Was really stoked on that board. It did have like a couple issues around noise, which were kind of like limited to like one or two pedals that were kind of causing it. Um, but it was like I can work around that, whatever. Well, then I like did like probably like three or four like fly date kind of gigs, and like within those few trips that I took, like immediately after posting that board demo, dude, TSA just like did their freaking thing with it. Like it's not like I don't think they opened it up and like intentionally like ripped things apart and did that whole thing, but the way that I like to frame it is kind of like they have like contests when they're like loading baggage onto uh freaking planes and just like see how far they can throw stuff. And I think that was happening because like I would like open up my case and it was just everything was just like everywhere. Like I had to like remount all the pedals to the board every single time I like opened it up to go to the gig. So that was a huge bummer. It messed up some cables. It actually ruined a pedal. It ruined my junction box. So that being said, it kind of put me on like a journey, I guess, or just like, you know what? I'm going to build a killer like rig that I can keep in town, and I can travel, like I can do like road travel with, but not necessarily fly with. Just one that is like all the sounds I would ever want and need in like one awesome, amazing thing. And that is being built by my buddy Dustin over at Brightside Sound Machines currently. So this is like, I had this thought like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, right around there. And I was kind of like, I guess I need to build like a flyboard. I don't really want to, but I feel like I have to because it might be a while and I can't just like borrow stuff. Like, I just can't do that. So I decided to just build a little one out. And here we are. This is my little fly rig that I've been traveling with for the last 4 months. Essentially, the goal was to have every sound that I would possibly need when I travel. I basically want like my sound and I want my what's comfortable to me when I travel. And I don't really want to like compromise on like, well, I don't have this pedal, like I don't have, like LVX or whatever. Like I wanted a form factor that I could put on that I could like throw on a plane in a road case and it would be fine. It could just get beat up and I have all my sounds. So it took some planning, and then finally, after I think like it took like a few weeks to build out, and then like a few more weeks to kind of find the right like overdrive situation, which I'll get into. And I love this thing, man. It's got everything that I need. It's awesome in this little tiny thing. So it is built like all the pedals are mounted on a Vertex Tour or Travel Light, I think is what it is. It's like 17 by 11, I think, or 17 by 10 with the riser that goes across the top. And it's awesome. I love these Vertex boards a lot. They're awesome. They are super sturdy, and they are like on the heavier side, I think. But like for this, it was like as long as it's below 50 pounds in the case, which it is by quite a bit. I think this thing weighs 36 pounds. It's great. So and it's housed in a live-in case that's built by Safecase. Rudy is the guy's name who owns the company and builds all these cases, and they're awesome. They're bulletproof. I feel like I could throw it off a daggum plain and it'd be fine. So I actually have the top here. Look how cute it is, dude. It's got a telescoping handle. It's got corner casters. It's awesome. Rode cases are way cooler than Pelican cases, in my opinion. So I figured I'd run you through some sounds, just in kind of how I'm using these pedals. Yeah, I'm using my Murphy Lab 59 reissue. It has throwback SLE 101s that are so good. Love these. And off camera, I'm running into 2 Tweed amps built by a guy named J. Chester Amplification. I picked these up yesterday from a buddy who's letting me hang on to them for a while, and they are great. They're awesome. It's kind of like the Tweed. Tweeds are weird amps. I could go off on a little tangent with this now. I mean, come along for the journey, guys. I have loved the sound of like Tweed amps, but kind of like the only exposure I'd ever had to one was like a 5E3. And 5E3s are really cool and they're classic. They're super, super cool amps, but like all I'd ever heard from them is that like cave thing that they do, where like when you push too much gain into it, it just kind of falls apart. And that could be a speaker issue. It's a circuit issue as well. But like, there's a lot of companies out there who do like killer mods and killer clones of these old Fender circuits. And as far as I know, the one on the right side that you're hearing is a like super clone. It's a 210. It's rad. And then the other seems like kind of like a Tweed Deluxe kind of thing. It's got like a crazy phase inverter tube in there. I think it's a 6LS7 or 6. I don't know exactly. I forgot what it is, but it's kind of a weird octal tube. And this thing is great. Like they hold together, but they do that Tweed thing, that kind of like fuzzy almost thing. Like I love it. So with no pedals on, no compressor or nothing, here's what the amps sound like. Very freaking cool amps, dude. Very cool amps. Gonna capture these real soon too. So underneath the board is 3 pedals that stay on all the time. I have Para EQ, might be a little hard to see, but Para EQ, which I guess has fallen prey to TSA. It kind of came a little loose, but that's okay. It's still safely nestled underneath the riser. So Para EQ, Cali, and Prickly Pear. So the order of those pedals is EQ, Prickly Pear, and Cali 76. So essentially the goal with the Para EQ is to kind of just like remove and notch out some of the frequencies that I don't want. Namely those sub-lows that are just completely useless in a mix. And then removing some of the more resonant frequencies. So removing the 250 just a tiny bit, 1.6 or 2K, kind of right around there. And then 4K, which up top for me, especially since I use the grippy side of a pick, can get a little out of control, a little harsh. So just kind of being able to notch those things out. And what's cool about the Deluxe, the Para EQ, it's a Para EQ Mark II Deluxe, is it has shelving filters on it too, so I can kind of like broadly remove some of the low frequencies. I think the pivot point's like around 1K, and then I like kind of like shelving some of the top back. So when you remove some of those top frequencies, especially I used kind of like wider cues just to be a little more musical, and to kind of avoid some phasing issues. So just kind of like shaping the guitar tone is freaking great. So it goes Pear EQ Mark II Deluxe and the Prickly Pear, which is a preamp pedal that my buddy Ethan designed for me a while back. Tone Ranger Audio. I can't live without this thing. I just love what it does. Adds this like sparkle and this kind of like, I don't know. It's just freaking perfect. I love it. I've had one on my board for the better part of like, it's coming up on 3 years, which is kind of wild. This one is one that he made for me recently that I love. And then Cali 76 to kind of smush everything back down. I love the Cali because it adds, it's not like a subtle compressor in the, well, it's not like a natural sounding compressor in the way that like, I don't know, like a diamond compressor would be, or maybe like a, I don't know, any other compressor pedal out there. I love that the Cali is like pretty unapologetically like a effect. Like it is its own, it's like its own thing. It's a, you know, the clone of the 1176, you know what it sounds like. So being able to kind of like keep the compression like pretty subtle, but having that like effect thing that it does, it just grabs a certain way and it feels right under my hands. Like I've tried a bunch of compressors recently and this is the only one that is just like, I can't get away from it. So these 3 pedals, the Pear EQ, the Prickly Pear, and the Cali are just like indispensable for me personally. It's kind of like my core tone shaping kind of thing. Can't get away from it. So as I reach down and turn these babies back on, this is what that sounds like. Tune, that's okay. So I just love it. I love those pedals a lot. Going into the overdrive section, I have 2 pedals in that section. It is the Bacardi Boo and the GFI Enigma. I don't love like stacking overdrive pedals. I've said that in all my videos before. This chair, by the way, is so comfortable. Herman Miller Aaron. I like keeping my drive section like really simple. I basically just like having like one stage at my disposal, or not stage, but like one overdrive color, if you will, at my disposal, and like kind of boosting a couple different ways. So how it's set up on the board is the Bacardi Boo is placed in the loop of the GFI Enigma. So when you do that, the like EQ portion of the pedal is placed before the drive, and then the boost is after. So what I love about that is like I'm able to push more mids into the Bacardi Boo to kind of like punch out in the mix a little bit more. Also, if I only want to like, you know, use a mid boost for a section, I can do that. And then having a full range boost after that, that's just like basically pure volume. It does add some lows, the boost section does, which I wish I could notch out, but overall it sounds awesome. It's very clear and like pristine. It's awesome. This whole like little overdrive section is like all I need. I love it. On the big board, there's going to be a ton of options because it's going to like function as like my studio board. So I can have a ton of options at my disposal, or 3 options at my disposal. Not a ton. But like this just simplicity has been so freeing. So it's like essentially if I feel like if I'm going out for a thing or just that morning, since this has kind of been my main ride for the last few months, you know, I'll like change my mind on the drive. Like I have a few different drive options at my disposal. I have a Lightspeed, a Sawdust from Apollo approved as well, Winford Drive from Exactone Solutions. Like I have like a few options, so I just like remove the Bacardi Boo and I just place the whatever I want in that spot. And it's been awesome. This it's like everything that I would possibly need for a for anything. Just like kind of a grab and go. Like I don't need a ton of options. It's just like right here. It's perfect. So Cardi Boo. Here's the mid boost. Off. On. Kind of removing some lows, boosting kind of broadly like 800 to 1K or like 1.2. Full range boost. With all of them on. Should tune. Guitar sucks. Also, these strings are really old. It's like literally all I would ever need, ever. It's been fun to like rock with just like a few options that sound killer and are really flexible and kind of solving problems. The Enigma was like a godsend because I could just like, I was like struggling so hard with what to put on that section or like to fill that spot or that need, I guess. Because I was like, I really want a mid boost, so I was going to buy another XTS modded G7 and like a simple, like a really like small clean boost, but I couldn't find any pedals that I was like super stoked on or any circuits that I was super stoked on. And the XTS like wouldn't really, like if I place the XTS on there, it would be, or the G7, sorry, is probably a better way to put it. The G7, it just wouldn't like fit anything else. So I was kind of like maxed out. So the Enigma is incredible. It can do like way more than you would ever need with it out of an EQ pedal, but like it rips. Highly recommend. And then next in line is stuff that you guys have heard before. It's the H90 LVX Mercury X thing. It's like the sounds that I've been rocking with for a while. That was kind of the thing. I was like playing around with a few different like delay and reverb options. Like I bought an RV5, I bought like an old El Capistan, and I was gonna just try and figure all that out. Kind of like, you know, I really love those old pedals. Like those were some of my favorite pedals back in the day, and I still love the RV5, but I kind of wanted to like my thing, you know, like my sounds that I've spent months and months and months and months dialing in and getting really comfortable with. So that was kind of the hardest pill to swallow for me with the small board, is like I've just gotten so used to how the H90 LVX and Mercury X combo sounds and feels to me that I was kind of like, I just don't think I can go without it, which sucked. So I was like, it's so expensive. Like so now I have like two of those pedals. Like they're like, I have a whole other set of this going on my big board. But it was kind of like the cost, I guess, of like, you know what? I just am not really willing to compromise on those sounds that I love. And I just also like with the H90, especially like with how I like love having those mods, it was kind of like a problem solver, you know, in the way that it's like, this is like my modulation and my delay. It's like, or half of my delay sound. It's awesome. So just running you through. It's the standard, like, so one thing that is a little bit different is I moved the vibrato to the perform mode. So it's like the second effect in that bucket, just like the standard delay one. When I need it. I don't use vibrato a ton anymore, but it is nice to have that. And I like doing this little trick. Holding self-oscillation. Sick. So going back here, yeah, it's just the sound that I just love that stuff so much. The micro pitch for chorus and the bucket delay out of H90 is like perfect. I was trying to like dial in this little like ambient thing out of the H90. It's kind of like got a reverse thing in there. I've just like never used it. I take that back. I've used it a couple times and I'm like, I just don't love it. So, anyway, so H90 is the same. LVX the same. Pretty cool. Stack them both. So with the Mercury X, I keep reverb really simple. It's kind of like the glue for me rather than like the core part of the sound. For me, like with wet signal and all of that stuff, like with just wet signal, I prefer the weight of that part of my tone coming from delays. I think delay is just far more impactful than like reverb. So reverb is just kind of acting as a glue. But the Mercury X is the best reverb pedal I've ever used. It's gonna take like something absolutely insane to come out for me to like want to change it up. It's just so good. The like stereo image is beautiful. The quality of the reverbs is like unmatched for me. Like I said earlier, like I really love the RV5. It's so good, and it kind of like in my brain just like basically forever stamped in that part of my brain that like modulated reverb is just the best. And it's like I just love it. But like the quality of the reverbs in the Mercury X is just unmatched. It's like it's just perfect. It feels, I don't know, like it's perfect. It's just perfect. So on its own, it's kind of a standard one. It's kind of like an always on Hall, and I like using the hold modifier. This is the same stuff, but just running you through it. The hold modifier is more mix, same decay. So if I just want a little bit more of that, then 2 is like more. I think it is I can't remember which algorithm I'm using for that, but and then same hold modifier. So then kind of the standard like always on delay reverb stack, if you will, is that's why I was just like, dude, if I'm gonna build a small board, I want to have my stuff on it, dude. I want to have my freaking sounds I've worked really hard on. A little bit more. Overdrive. Mids. For the pretty ambient stuff, got some LVX and going to 2 on Mercury X and then 2 on LVX. Killer. So another thing of like when I'm traveling, I travel with Tone X's. It just makes life so easy. Like I have 2 Tone X big box boys that I have all my captures that I create with me. So if I just, want to change it up, I can just do that. It is like, it adds a level of inconvenience to like if everything could fit on the board, like that would be super ideal and awesome. But I wanted like a really small form factor. So it was kind of like, that's fine. Like I'll just, if that's the only bummer, then fine. It is what it is. So I travel with 2 Tone X's and a Pinstripe DI that I've had for a couple years. That is great. And yeah, other than that, like all the cables are the Mogami cable that I always mess up the name of, and square plug SP400s. And I'm running a little mono medium, I think, power supply in there. I mean, like y'all saw earlier, it's freaking tight. Like it's all real compact and there's no room for anything else, but like maxing out this little platform has been killer. It sounds huge. I am super, super, super happy with how it sounds and feels. And it's just sturdy as heck and reliable. And like I said earlier, like in all this stuff, I feel like I can just like throw it off the plane and it'd be fine. Maybe not from 30,000 feet, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's stout. And yeah, that's it, man. That's the board. That's the little travel guy. So little plugs, like shameless plugs, I guess. I sell these H90 LVX Mercury X patches on my website, jakefaubermusic.com. I operate under the name Teddy Tones. Very stoked on that business that I created last year. I love it. It's super fun. I sell a ton of Tone X captures. I love all of them. They're all awesome. And then these amps that you heard today, they're going to get captured really soon. So they'll be available on the site real soon. Also, one thing I launched last year, or actually January 1st, was I launched a masterclass format course. Just basically like Church Guitar 101. If you are playing in church and you've never really had anyone teach you like kind of what you would need as far as like scales and the foundational theory and all of that stuff, and even like shaping your tone, like if you want to learn all that stuff, it's like 6.5 hours worth of video, dude. And that's available over at thewaveworship.com. And I'm super proud of it. We worked really, really, really hard on it. And if you're interested in learning and growing more in your craft in that way, I think it is I personally believe it's an invaluable resource. It's kind of like everything that I wish someone taught me when I was first learning. But also it's like if you've been playing for decades and you just have never had anyone teach you, or you just need to like brush up and just gain some different perspective, and you just want like a course, it's a killer option. Like I just go all the way in. Like if you've had questions of like, how does he do that? How does he do that? How is he thinking like on the fretboard? Even if you've had those questions watching this video, like, dude, I answer that. I answer all of it. And I just talk about everything that I could possibly think of for about 6.5 hours. Although it was like 12 hours. Long days. So anyway, thanks for watching. That was fun, wasn't it? We had fun. See you guys. Bye.